The same Kristi Noem who used state aircraft for personal and political travel. The same Kristi Noem who intervened to help her daughter get a real estate appraiser license after she initially failed to qualify. So no, Kristi, it's not that we can't criticize your job performance, it's that there's so much to criticize, we don't know where to start.
The latest episode hitting a nerve, prompting Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to publicly respond to South Park's unflattering portrayal of her.
South Park is taking no prisoners in its new season, and despite backlash from Trump administration officials, they are unfazed. They actually released this bonus clip on Twitter last night, poking fun at DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's past puppy killing scandal.
South Park just released bonus clips that turned Kristi Noem into their latest political target. And her defensive meltdown proved they hit exactly where it hurts. The #1 stream show in America didn't just mock her once. Instead, they kept the controversy alive with strategic bonus content. And surely the administration isn't ready to handle more picture-perfect criticism.
Now, first of all, while we're in the midst of this perpetual victimhood shtick at the hands of Kristi Noem, let's not forget that we are talking about South Park. Not only is this a cartoon, but it's a show that spent the last 27 years making fun of literally everyone and everything.
The controversy erupted when South Park released their latest episode featuring ICE operations and Noem's character front and center. Why does this matter? Because South Park currently ranks as America's #1 streamed show, meaning millions witnessed this political takedown in real time. The episode wasn't subtle about its targets.
Last night on an episode that focused on the elementary school counselor, Mr. Mackey, where he loses his job because what the Trump administration is doing to schools, and because he needs money, he joins ICE for its large salary.
The South Park episode opened with elementary school counselor Mr. McKee losing his job due to Trump administration budget cuts. Desperate for employment, he joins ICE for their substantial salary offerings. This setup allowed the creators to mock the quality of people being recruited into immigration enforcement, essentially anyone willing to take the job regardless of qualifications.
Welcome to the team, recruits. I'm Kristi Noem, head of Homeland Security.
Enter South Park's version of Kristi Noem, portrayed as Ice Barbie, with her face literally melting off throughout the episode. The animators showed her requiring constant makeup touch-ups and Botox injections just to keep her appearance intact during public appearances. Everything she did seemed staged for photo opportunities rather than actual governance.
She seems nice. Okay, very pretty. A few years ago, I had to put my puppy down by shooting it in the face, because sometimes doing what's important means doing what's hard.
The ICE recruitment video featuring Noem delivered the episode's most shocking moment. Standing before new recruits, the animated Noem declared that a few years ago, she had to put her puppy down by eliminating it, because sometimes doing what's important means doing what's hard. This wasn't subtle satire. It was a direct callback to her real-life controversy.
And over the course of the episode, she just shoots dog after dog in the face. She even snipes crypto, and as the credits run, she shoots up a dog store.
The episode escalated from there. South Park's Noem continued putting down dogs throughout the runtime, including fan-favorite character Crypto. During the credits, viewers watched her eliminate animals at an entire pet store. The message was unmistakable. If you're willing to harm your own dog, what won't you do to strangers?
You have the new recruits loading into trucks for the first ICE raid. You have an agent advising them, keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times, like it's a Disneyland ride. They raid a Dora the Explorer live show.
ICE operations received equally brutal treatment. New recruits were loaded into trucks with theme park safety announcements about keeping hands and feet inside vehicles. Agents raided a Dora the Explorer live show, with commanders instructing to only detain brown people. The show transformed immigration enforcement into a twisted carnival ride, complete with recruitment pitches targeting anyone desperate enough to sign up.
Oh, this is bad. Okay.
Come on.
The episode's most devastating sequence sends ICE agents straight into heaven where they continue their brown deportation policy among the angels themselves. South Park isn't being subtle here. They're showing what happens when law enforcement gets stripped of both law and humanity. Trump's real-world cheerleading for ICE suddenly looks a lot more sinister when you see the cartoon version storming celestial gates with the same racial profiling tactics.
Where she bragged about shooting her 14-month-old puppy in the face because it was, quote, untrainable.
For context, Noem's dog controversy stems from her 2024 book, where she proudly described shooting her 14-month-old wire-haired pointer named Cricket. According to Noem's own account, she killed the puppy because it was untrainable and had killed chickens on her family farm. She presented this story as evidence of her willingness to make tough decisions, apparently believing that puppy execution would enhance her political credibility. The revelation damaged her prospects for higher office and became a defining scandal that overshadowed her gubernatorial record.
Yeah, it never ends, but it's so lazy to just constantly make fun of women for how they look. Only the liberals and the extremists do that. If they wanted to criticize my job, go ahead and do that, but clearly they can't. They just pick something petty like that.
Noem's reaction during her Glenn Beck interview revealed exactly how deeply South Park's mockery affected her. Instead of ignoring the cartoon, she claimed the show was lazy for constantly making fun of women's appearances, arguing that only liberals and extremists engage in such tactics. Her response exposed a fundamental misunderstanding of South Park's brand. The show has spent 27 years mocking everyone equally, from presidents to celebrities to ordinary citizens. By claiming special victimhood status as a woman, Noem actually amplified the very criticism she was trying to deflect.
Let me remind everybody what Kristi Noem is most famous for. It's not her stellar governance of South Dakota. It's not her groundbreaking policy initiative.
The irony became even richer when considering her party's track record on appearance-based attacks. Trump himself made headlines during the 2016 primary with his comments about Carly Fiorina's face, asking, "Would anyone vote for that?" Yet Noem showed no similar outrage when her own party leader engaged in exactly the behavior she now condemned. Her selective outrage revealed this wasn't about principle, but about personal sensitivity to criticism. When you've built your political brand around being tough enough to shoot puppies, getting defensive about cartoon mockery destroys that entire image.
And Trump officials are trying to show they're in on the jokes, not just the butt of them. Vance posting on X today, "Well, I've finally made it."
While Noem was melting down over animated insults, J.D. Vance demonstrated a completely different strategy. The vice president took to social media with an almost gleeful response. "I finally made it." He treated his South Park appearance like a career achievement rather than an attack. This stark contrast highlighted the administration's internal confusion about media strategy. Vance understood something Noem missed. In modern politics, being ignored is worse than being mocked. Any attention, even negative cartoon attention, keeps you relevant in the cultural conversation.
White House last month responding to the first episode where they said, "The show hasn't been relevant for over 20 years and is hanging on by a thread with uninspired ideas in a desperate attempt for attention."
The White House initially dismissed South Park as irrelevant, claiming no one watches this anymore, and calling it a desperate attempt for attention. These statements proved factually incorrect, as South Park currently dominates streaming charts and maintains significant cultural influence. If you want to stay ahead of political chaos like this, hit subscribe. These stories move fast, and you don't want to miss what happens next.
They actually released this bonus clip on Twitter last night, poking fun at DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's past puppy killing scandal. At first, Noem was in on the joke. She and ICE used the show as a recruitment push on social media, but it was fun until it wasn't.
After Noem's defensive interview went viral, South Park released calculated bonus clips on Twitter. These weren't random outtakes, but strategic escalations timed to keep the controversy trending just as news cycles typically move on. The bonus material doubled down on controversial elements, showing more scenes of Noem's character continuing her recruitment messages while her animated face kept deteriorating. clips featured explicit commentary on ICE tactics and detention policies. One particularly disturbing moment showed her demonstrating what she called proper decision-making techniques while referencing her past actions with problem animals. These strategic releases extended Noem's defensive response across additional news cycles and generated fresh viral moments on social platforms.
She literally thought that story would make her look good. She put it in her book as a point of pride. So forgive me if I'm not exactly crying about South Park making fun of someone who thinks puppy murder is a campaign selling point.
What makes this situation particularly revealing is Noem's track record with criticism. She's faced questions about using state aircraft for personal travel, intervening to help her daughter get a real estate appraiser license after initial failures, and using government resources for political positioning. Yet instead of addressing these legitimate governance concerns, she chooses to battle cartoon characters.
Paramount just cut a $1.5 billion deal with Stone and Parker for 50 new episodes of South Park and the rights to stream every season on Paramount+. Paramount owns CBS. They just settled a lawsuit with Donald Trump. They agreed to pay Trump.
Behind this comedy controversy lies a complex corporate story. Paramount, South Park's parent company, recently completed a merger with Skydance following a $16 million settlement with Trump's FCC. This settlement was widely interpreted as a strategic payment to ensure merger approval.
So Gomez telling CNN that media moguls are betraying the public's trust. You know, Paramount recently canceled big-name Trump critic Stephen Colbert's show. So what about South Park? Well, today I asked the company's new CEO, David Ellison, if South Park's scathing Trump criticism is a problem for the company. Ellison indicated, no, it's not. He praised the show's creators. He told me he's been a fan of the show for decades. And he said, quote, they are equal opportunity offenders.
David Ellison, Paramount's new CEO, publicly defended South Park during the controversy. He called the creators equal opportunity offenders and indicated the company wouldn't restrict their political commentary. This support came despite Paramount's recent cancellation of Stephen Colbert's show, which had been losing money while South Park generates substantial streaming revenue. The financial calculation proved straightforward. Colbert's show was hemorrhaging money, while South Park dominates streaming charts and drives subscription growth. Ellison's defense of South Park wasn't primarily about free speech principles. It was about protecting a profitable asset that continues generating revenue through political controversy.
They've mocked every president, every politician, every celebrity, every demographic, every religion, every ideology. That is literally their entire brand. But suddenly, when they make fun of Kristi Noem, it's because liberals hate women? Give me a break.
This South Park situation reveals something significant about modern political dynamics. The Trump administration struggles more with mockery than traditional criticism. Officials can dismiss policy critiques or negative news coverage, but satirical attacks that make them appear ridiculous create different challenges.
It wasn't Matt Stone or Trey Parker who introduced the idea of killing a puppy to the world. That was her.
Authoritarian-minded leaders typically want to project strength and control. Comedy undermines that image by making powerful figures appear foolish or incompetent. South Park's effectiveness lies not in policy arguments, but in cultural influence. They shape how millions of Americans perceive political figures through humor rather than journalism.
But the second someone pushes back, even a cartoon, they immediately cry persecution.
The administration's varied responses to South Park also demonstrate internal divisions about media strategy. Some officials, like Noem, treat comedy criticism as serious attacks requiring defensive responses. Others, like Vance, attempt to co-opt the attention for their own benefit.
But here's what's really rich about Noem's response. She claims that only liberals and extremists make fun of women for how they look. Really, Kristi? Because I seem to remember your party spending the last 8 years attacking the looks of AOC, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris.
The episode highlighted broader issues with ICE recruitment under her leadership. South Park's mockery of lowered standards isn't far from reality. The agency recently eliminated age limits and degree requirements while offering massive signing bonuses. When satire mirrors actual policy so closely, the criticism cuts deeper than typical political comedy.
Oh, we can't criticize your job performance? Let's test that theory. How about the fact that South Dakota has one of the highest rates of drunk driving deaths in the entire country under your leadership?
Cabinet officials who spend more time fighting cartoon shows than addressing governmental challenges expose exactly the leadership dysfunction South Park loves to lampoon. When political figures can't distinguish between legitimate criticism and entertainment, they've already lost the narrative battle.
But here's what this really reveals about the modern Republican Party. They've become so used to playing the victim that they literally cannot handle any criticism whatsoever.
The creators have turned political accountability into streaming content, proving that in 2025, America, the most effective oversight might come from Colorado cartoon kids rather than traditional media. Subscribe to our channel to stay updated with the latest news of inside the South Park joke that no one is going to tell you. Let us know in the comments which part of the episode is your favorite.